Hi, I'm Claire. Welcome to Ballymelon Farm. Today I'm in the greenhouse again. I feel like a lot of what we do at the moment is in the greenhouse. So we're starting seeds, potting up plants, which is what I'm doing today. So what I thought I'd do today is, while I was potting up our tomatoes, I thought that I would talk to you all a little about us, about our family, about the farm, about the garden, and yeah, just let you guys know a little bit more about us. Right, so I have my labels. While I was in the depths of winter waiting to be out in my veggie garden, I have taken all my labels and written them all out. So I'll just find the ones that I have. So I think I'm going to start with the Amish paste. So I'll find all the labels that say Amish paste, and then it should just be as easy as chucking all the labels on them and starting potting them up. Right, so I like to put the label in first, so I definitely know what I have. Poke a big deep hole in the middle because I'm going to plant these tomatoes quite deep. I'm going to get my pot and give it a good squeeze and kind of tip it out on the table gently. Alright, so here we go. I've got them all just chucked out, and then I'm just going to really gently pull them all apart and plant them nice and deep down into that hole. You can top up around it a little. And there we go. Whoops, where are you? Oh, what's happening? There we go. So I'm going to do that with hundreds of them, so it's going to take me a while. So I'm just going to carry on with what I'm doing while I talk to you guys a little bit about us. So we, Lance and I have been together for about 20 years. We got married in 2019. So Lance and I actually went to primary school together, and we when they closed all the little rural primary schools, we kind of re-met and fell in love, and the rest is history. Beautiful story. We have got 5 kids aged between 12 is our oldest and 5 is our youngest. We always wanted a large family, so 5 is the most that we could fit in our car, so that is what we have. We always kind of dreamt of being self-sufficient. So I remember when we were first started dating or whatever, we would talk about how cool it would be to be self-sufficient and grow all of our own food, and have pigs and chickens and all that kind of thing. But it always seemed like, oh, one day we'll do that when we have more money, or when we have more time, or things like that, after we've had our family, after we've reached all the goals for our business, or all that kind of stuff. We'll do it at some stage. So yeah, we kind of put that to the side, and we just got on with farms. So we are dairy farmers. We have we milk 250 cows currently, so we've always been small dairy farmers. We've never really gone more than that. So when I was teaching, and before we had kids, I was a teacher. Lance Lutz has always wanted to be a farmer, so it's what he grew up as. We are currently on his parents' farm, so we bought their farm, I don't know how many years ago, maybe seven, no, it must be 6 or 7 years ago anyway. But he has always wanted to be a dairy farmer, so we worked here for a little while as managers. After doing that, we always were kind of like big dreamers, so we would Lance always dreamt of having his own farm, so we would I feel like we'd always be like looking at real estate and things like that and going like, how can we make that happen, what can we do so we can make this work. But anyway, our first endeavour, I suppose, was we leased a farm around the coast, and we're in Taranaki, by the way, I don't think I mentioned that, so around the coast. And you know, I was teaching, Lance was doing a lot of the farm work on his own. I would kind of feed the calves and help out in the weekends and that kind of thing. When we had our first baby, I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a teacher, I didn't want to go back. I loved being a mama, I loved being on the farm, we loved working together. And yeah, so from there we after that we went on to a 50-50 share milking job around Stratford area, and from there I just remember, you know, always looking at little farms that would come on the market to see, and we would do all the figures and exercises to see whether we could you know, whether we could make it work. And it wasn't until Lance's mum and dad had a little bit of trouble with staff that we came back and share milked here on the home farm for them. So yeah, that was good. It was like we were home, like this felt like our home. Even when we were share milking, we were quite happy just to share milk forever. And you know, we had our house, we had our you know, a place to call our own, which is cool. Yeah, and it was just kind of happened that we had the opportunity to buy the farm with Lance's mum and dad's help. Obviously they've been amazing. So we bought the farm, and that is kind of when all our self-sufficiency stuff really started. So we the year after we bought the farm, we kind of were really struggling financially. As you can imagine, we had a lot of debt. Well, we still do a lot of debt, and we just really, it was like, you know, when you have a goal, you reach your goal, and you really want to make it work. Like, you don't want to give it up once you already have it. So the year after we bought the farm, there was quite a bad drought in Taranaki, and we were really struggling. It was really difficult, but we knew that we wanted to make it work, and we were pretty much like, we will do anything to make this work. So we just stopped spending money pretty much. So you know, that year we didn't buy anything for ourselves. We didn't buy anything except for essentials. Like, same with the farm, we kept things really like minimal, only like really essential kind of spending. And we found out that we really loved living like that. And it came back to that dream that we had always had about being self-sufficient. So we were finally kind of living the dream that we had always wanted to live, and it wasn't because we had more money or more time. It was really out of necessity. So we started really small with a small veggie garden in the next to the house, which was Lance's mum's veggie garden. She had a couple of raised beds that we've moved now over here into our veggie garden, and then we just put some in-ground gardens in. I just watched a ton of YouTube videos is how I learn. I'm not a big reader. I wish I was, but I'm not. And I learned a lot by watching videos and things. Had to skedaddle the puppy. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, so our small garden. So yeah, we started small. We put the in-ground gardens in over next to the house. You know, we grew a lot of food. We did. I think it all went pretty well. But you know, we're a family of 7. It just, if we were looking at growing a lot of our own food, it just wasn't big enough. So we looked at different places on the farm where we could put a bigger garden, and it just made sense to put it, so currently where the garden is was to out. I'm gonna shut myself in here and get really hot probably. Oh, she's just gonna go around to the other. So where we currently have the garden is where our calf paddocks, so 2 little calf paddocks that we weren't really gonna miss. You know, there's other paddocks we can use for calves, so we just decided to place. And yeah, so there's also an old greenhouse there that used to be Lance's mum's greenhouse. I think I put dirt on my face. So the greenhouse, so there's an old greenhouse which I lived here for so long and didn't actually realize it was there because there were so many trees in front of it. I don't know, and I walk past it like every day and I'm sure I didn't know it was there. So anyway, we thought, well, there's a greenhouse there, we can make an in-ground garden next to that. It's going to not cost us anything because we can just plow it up and make our garden there. So that's what we did. So that is, I think it's like 100 square meters or something, I can't remember now, but yeah, it was big anyway. And we started growing lots of our own food, and we love it. We got into pigs and sheep and chickens and all the things, started growing lots of veggies, starting our own seeds, and yeah, we just love everything about it. It's such an awesome way to live. It is like full on busy. You know, we've got a ton of stuff to do all the time, but it's fun. It's a cool way to live. Yeah, so we started the in-ground garden first. That was in 2020, I think. So it was like we had like we were pre-prepared for all that was to happen in 2020. So we, you know, over the time there, I think we just spent a lot of time learning, you know, learning by practicing stuff, doing stuff, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and yeah, we just really love it so much. And I think like through all the hard work that it is to do all of this on top of running the farm, like it's just Lance and I on the farm and the kids, you know, it's a lot for two people to do, but I think, you know, we know why we do it and we know why we get out of bed in the morning. We just love that, you know, one of us doesn't have to go off and do a job and not see the other person all day. We don't have to miss out on stuff with the kids, because if they have something, it's just Lance and I. We can, you know, we can leave what we're doing on the farm or in the garden for another day, and we can go and hang out with and do what they're doing at school and see what they're doing. Like, I guess the reason I started on Instagram, and I started that just for myself, so like I think for about 6 months to a year I just posted stuff on there without having anybody follow it. I think I had it private. I think Lance followed it and maybe my mum, and I just put stuff on there as a record of, you know, what we were doing and stuff like that, and being able to like look back on that when you are overwhelmed and going, right, that's why, you know, like look how awesome all this food is that we're bringing in from the garden, or look how cool it is when we're all out here as a family, you know, moving the pigs, or feeding the lambs, or, you know, picking beans. Like, that's why we do it, because it's so much fun. Even though it's so much work, it's so much fun. So I think, you know, knowing that why you get out of bed is really important. And same with the farm. Like, I feel like if we didn't have the farm, we wouldn't have, you know, to the extent that we are able to do all the stuff that we do. And, you know, sometimes the farm sucks, but it's like, it's cool that we're out there. Like, I feel like teaching our kids how to work hard and teaching them like practical skills, and I just think it's awesome. We love it so much. So yeah, the family time I think is just awesome. And it's, I think the kids hate it. A lot of the time they hate it. They're like, why don't we get packets of chippies or muesli bars in our lunchbox, and stuff like that. But, you know, then they're, or, you know, why don't we get to use our iPads? My friends use their iPads way more than we're allowed to, and all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, they have times when they use them a ton when we're busy on the farm, and times where, you know, we put them away for the summer and go and do stuff outside and that, and they just have so much fun. Like, our oldest and our middle son have been like baking so they can have yummy treats in their lunch boxes, and you know, they'll come out and they'll, you know, feed the animals, and yeah, they just do everything with us. And I think, just feel like they learn so much from doing that, and it's real cool. Lucky to have Lance, because Lance is really practical. He's really handy and he can do a lot of things. You know, he just does everything himself. Like, if something needs to be built, he'll build it. If something needs to be done, he'll do it. He's awesome like that. So, you know, that kind of helps, makes things really easy. If things need to be, if, you know, things need to be fixed, we can fix things ourselves, or all of that kind of stuff. So that makes this kind of lifestyle easier when you have a person who is handy. And I feel like I'm the the dreaming out of the next big scheme kind of person. Oh, I think we could put, you know, why don't we get some pigs, or why don't we do this? And you know, sometimes it doesn't work. We're just getting out of pigs because pigs have been too much work for us. Well, we've had breeding pigs, so breeding pigs have been too much work for us. So we're just going to get some weaner pigs and do that instead, but that's all good. But you know, like, let's make the garden bigger, or let's do veggie boxes. I feel like, you know, that comes from me. Somewhat, although Lance is like, let's make the potatoes bigger and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think we're a good team, and I think that that's really helped with us doing all the things we do, because I think we work together really, really well, and we love working together so much. Like, sometimes we're like, let's just go and do that, you know, even though we've got things that we could be doing separately, we'll go and do it together because it's a lot more fun to work together. And the other thing is, we just don't try and be perfect at everything. So, you know, we still get takeaways, we still buy junk food, we still buy, you know, plant starts sometimes. If I'm trying, that's my goal this year, to try not to do that, but if for any reason I feel like I need to, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect and go, no, you can't do that, because what's the point? Like, I feel like you need to be kind to yourself and not put pressure on yourself. So yeah, we're definitely not perfect. We definitely you know, could do things a whole lot better than what we do them, but you know, don't have to be perfect, just good enough is good enough, and that's what we do good enough. So I'm getting ton of these tomato plants started. I'll see if I can move you around. So I ran out of labels, so I need to make more labels, but yeah, I'm getting a ton of plants. Oh, this clippy! A ton done. So our garden has expanded quite a lot over the last 4 or 5 years since we've been doing this. We, like I said, we started out over at the garden around the section, then we moved over and we did the big in-ground garden over there. The next thing we did was move the 2 raised beds over from the section. After that, the next bit that went in was the greenhouse, so this greenhouse, and the plan was to have this greenhouse, well, it still is the plan. This greenhouse is for seed starting, the other greenhouse is for growing year round. We do have shade cloth for both greenhouses. We're not sure if we need them. We'll see whether we get too hot in the summer or not, but they're there if we need them. So yeah, we put the 2 greenhouses up, like we were supposed to put them both. We were supposed to put them both up at the same time, but you know, we had more important things that had to happen first. So we 2 greenhouses, and then the raised bed garden kind of came from me feeling like I needed something a little easier to manage. So at the start of last year, I was diagnosed with Meniere's disease, which is like a degenerative. So it's a degenerative disease that I feel like I'm managing really well at the moment, but I will get attacks of vertigo, and as I age it will get worse. so I felt like I needed something that was more manageable, you know, in case anything happened and I needed either someone else to, like Lance to, or the kids to get in the garden, or I just needed something, you know, that wasn't full of weeds, because the in-ground garden is really weedy because it used to be a calf paddock. So yeah, something a bit more manageable. That's also the reason why we've put the strawberries down over there in the raised bed garden, and we're going to do the bigger crops over there to try and make that easier to manage. And yeah, so with that, all of this kind of stuff came just to be more on top of, to try and be more on top of things and still get to do what we want to do, even with you know, that possibly getting in the way, but hopefully not. I've lost like 30 kgs I think, and I think with diet and exercise and stuff, the Meniere's disease has been pretty good. I still have like days where I feel wonky or whatever, but most of the time pretty good, pretty positive about it most of the time I feel. But yeah, but we just, you know, keep trucking on, doing what we love doing, and you know, when you're happy, when you're doing what you love to do, who cares what gets in the way? You just feel like, not today, thank you, I'm happy. We grow our food pretty naturally, so we don't use chemical pesticides or herbicides, but currently I'm using the Tui vegetable mix, which is not organic, so you know, we're not perfect. The camera's not liking being in the greenhouse, it's overheating. So I think I was saying that we're not perfect anyway, like everything. We try and do the best we can do, but you know, sometimes organic stuff is super expensive, so we just do the best that we can do with that. Yeah, and the potatoes, so we started growing the potatoes the first year we started gardening. We started with quite a big section. The camera is getting too hot, so I had to move in here. So I'm just going to write the labels. And I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, I figured it out. It was potatoes. So another thing to know about me is I'm really forgetful. So the potatoes, we started with a pretty big section out the back of the house. Lance collects Ferguson tractors, so he has a lot of the implements for doing all the stuff to the potatoes, harvesting and planting and rowing up and I wrote that one wrong, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Lance really got into the veggie gardening through doing the potatoes. So the next year we went bigger, and every year we've just got bigger. The first couple years we didn't, oh, I did the wrong label again. The first couple of years we didn't sell any, we just grew them for ourselves. And then yeah, I think just because it was something that we really enjoyed, it's kind of like we wanted to share it with other people. And so yeah, this year we've got a ton of seed potatoes, like an actual ton of seed potatoes. So we're really excited and very nervous to sell those to the community, and hopefully we'll have lots of people on board with purchasing from us. And we're also going to be trialing some veggie boxes this year. I don't think we're going to have a ton of them, but I try and think positively and see how we go with that. So the next part of the garden we expanded was down where I've got the weed matting. That is going to be for tomatoes. So last year I don't know, I grew like between 100 and 200 tomato plants, and I was lucky if we had enough for fresh eating and half a freezer bag. They just got really bad blight, so this year I've just completely moved them down to a new area. And then the next thing we're thinking of doing is putting another little in-ground garden where we currently have the little lammies. So we have a little bit of extra room for like the market gardening, more market gardening kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that one. But yeah, I can't think of anything else to share about myself. I feel like I've been talking for ages. I'm going to carry on doing the tomatoes. The camera does not like being in the greenhouse, so I will not take it with me. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.